are you doing? Are you good? What's new? What's the latest? What are the new vibes? Fill me in. This is your girl Emma back here on Searching Lights, the place where we discover all this yearning, all this curiosity, the things that inspire us, the things that we are in awe of. I know life is so interesting. We are back here on Searching Lights, and today I have something that I've been pondering on: needs and wants. I need this. I want that. I need this. I would need this. I might want that. That's a constant battle we have in our minds, right? Oh, yeah. It is real because the line is so thin. Like needs usually and wants, they mix there, as if they are related, as if they are not related. But then it is important to differentiate them, man. In this thing called adulting, we have to, streamline some of these things to make it easier for us. I'll give you an example. When I was in boarding school, much younger, I don't know if you guys did not go to boarding, made school lists, where you'd put the materials you need, the things you'd need for that term, whether books or shoes or pens or pencils, whatever you need. Those of us who went to boarding schools, the snacks we would carry. I know some of you are thinking about your favorite snacks right now, but that is not where we are going to go. So whenever I made this list, so my father required me to make it at the beginning of every term. And I would make it happily, because this is when you'd squeeze in even the small things that you want and hope they will pass. Oh dear. Do you know, he would make me sit down and go through that list with him. Usually when he was broke, when he had money, he would not over scrutinize the list. But when he was broke, he would look at the list. Then he said, what do you need this for? Is this necessary? Do you need this? This is just a want. So one day he sat down and gave me this talk about needs and wants, and I was so frustrated. I was so angry. There are those small things you want to sneak in so that you can take to school and show your friends that you're cool. He crossed them off all the list. My God, it was so painful, but it taught me something. From then, I would always have to pay attention to my needs and wants. Meanwhile, I have a friend. For her, she told me, her father, literally, there was no list he ever accepted. He would literally cross everything off her list and give her like only 2 or 3 items. My God. And then we thought they were mean, right? We thought those parents were mean. But now we are adulting ourselves, and we are the ones crossing items of our own lists even. The ones we make for ourselves, that shopping list that you make for your groceries every week, or the things that you have to do, maybe like fuel or what. Then you're like, do I need to get all this fuel? Maybe I should squeeze in a bit. So you've seen how that is a serious battle. But today, I'm just here to tell you, needs are the essential things in your life that do or die. Like if you don't have them, it is just, they are a necessity. For example, shelter, safety, healthcare, food, those are the needs. So anything that falls under those categories, you just know those are needs. Then the wants. These are the things we desire, the things we just admire, the things we want, like that designer handbag you've been wanting to buy for a while, or you bought it so expensively at the expense of a need that you actually have. Then so these things, you can see how they are so small. And the world we are living in right now is so woke that wants have been made to look like needs. So we are constantly confused. We constantly feel like we don't have enough, and yet it is possible to have enough. However, I also know that needs and wants differ from person to person and season to season. My friend, a rich person will not have the same needs as you, who is not yet rich. So don't look at someone who is balling and you're like, I must get that, They could easily be able to afford themselves a Ferrari without breaking the bank. Then now you, hey, my dear friend, who cannot even make $1,000 in a bank a month, you also want to purchase a Ferrari. Hey, friend, is that being realistic? Anyway, That's not what I'm here for today. I'm just posing that question to you because I know that these needs and wants differ from person to person. And I need you to also know that I'm not saying you cannot reward yourself. In fact, it is important. If you work, I know that, and especially now, it feels like we toil too much, like we have to work too much. So it is important for you, of every paycheck of yours, to reward yourself. I learned this from a mentor of mine. She taught me that off every paycheck, reward yourself. Because for her, she took so long not rewarding herself and just sorting needs of other people. And then she noticed that she was over-sacrificing for herself, that it became frustrating for her. So when she was mentoring me, she told me that reward yourself off every paycheck. If there's a place you've been wanting to go and sit and dine, if you have worked for it and earned it and you've sorted the needs, then you can go and reward yourself with that. Or buy that shoe that you've been wanting, So you can save in order to achieve your wants in the long run, but make sure you reward yourself, because this motivates you to even work more or work harder or work smarter. But we must know that there is a difference, and learning the difference between needs and wants helps make budgeting very, very easy. I don't know. Personally, I make a budget. I make a yearly budget, I make a quarterly budget, then I make a monthly budget, then a weekly budget. Yeah, because I need groceries every week, my friend. So when I am budgeting, I always, after I first go happy, make the list as I feel them flowing out of my heart. Then now I begin to say, what is the need here and what is the want? So that I can first sort the need, yeah? And then the budget usually reduces and is not that big. And through doing this, it helps me prioritize, which is another advantage of knowing the difference between needs and wants. You learn how to prioritize, my friend. Priority. I don't know how I can stress this enough. Adulting is learning to prioritize. So when you know your needs, you prioritize them. You first prioritize your safety, your health, your food, your shelter. Then now you can come down to all these fancy things that you want. Yeah, which is okay. It is okay to want these things, but not at the expense of what you need. And when we learn how to prioritize, then it becomes easy for us to live within our means, right? I know this is a real struggle, because half the time we want to show off that we are well. We want to show people that, hey, I can afford this. Then you find yourself straining yourself. You're living in an apartment that is over what you make at the end of the month. So how are you going to be able to provide for the other needs, which is the food that you need every day, or the bills that you have to pay every day? Some people say maybe if you're renting, your apartment should not be maybe more than 20% or 10% of what you make every month. I'm not sure about the percentage, so don't hold me on that, but it shouldn't be over 50%. Otherwise, you'll find that you are breaking your back to get some of these things. So living within your means. When buying a phone, buy the one you can afford. These phones, they all do the same thing. Yeah. So living within your means, just train yourself to do that, and you will have so much more peace. And it even helps us learn to be content. Yes. When you know your needs and wants, it's easy for you to be content. Contentment is accepting what you have, appreciating where you are, and saying this is a good place to be. Because if you're able to put food on your table every day, able to sort your health care, able to have shelter and safety, that is a good place. So first be content with that. Then when you are, whatever surplus is left, then that can create room for the wants. Yes, I also have wants that I be wanting. So I'm not perfect at this. As I'm discussing it, it's not about perfection. I'm not perfect. It's something we learn and fail at, and then learn again. Because sometimes you're like, no, I will forward this one for once. This is what makes me happy. We have this thing of this is what makes me happy, but it's making you happy in that moment. But after that moment, then you're sad again because the need is not sorted. Yes, Then knowing the needs and wants helps create self-awareness, because it will make you look at your values better, consider your goals even more, and this will motivate you. It will give you the drive to either go out to figure out, how do I do this? How do I make this more sustainable? How do I make this more enjoyable and not make it so much of a struggle? Yeah. So this self-awareness, the values that we have inform our needs and wants, the goals that we set, so that you set goals which are achievable, or goals which fit into your own purpose and calling, instead of setting goals because you see your friend is setting this kind of goal. You're like, even me, that's where I want to go. No. Because their need in that time might not be your need at that time, or their want might not be your want. Yeah, that's what I mean by self-awareness. So, friend, adulting is not easy, but we are going to manage it. Like I said before, we can do this. Nothing is impossible under the sky. As long as that sky is still up there and it is not falling, we can. So being an adult and managing adulting is recognizing your needs over your wants. So that this helps you be more responsible. Have you ever seen how people keep saying that person is not responsible? It is because these are some of the things they are not recognizing their needs. But when you do, it helps you become more responsible and makes you drive your life in a way where it's more fulfilling, it is more fruitful, you're more motivated because you can see the future, you can see where you're going. Some of us are stagnant because we haven't figured out what is the need and what is the want. How do I sort my needs so that I can achieve what I want? Yes, there's always that surplus that is left, then that is what you can use. Then when you do that with time, slowly by slowly, then you are able to put those wants on just by snapping your finger like that. All right. So you tell me, how are some of the ways as an adult you're beginning to recognize needs over wants? Yeah, go to that comment section and let me know. I would also love to learn from you. And please remember, while you're there, remember to like, to subscribe, to share, so that we can learn together, so that we can grow together, so that this light that is within us can shine all over the place. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye. See you soon.